So don't worry. Okay, now we're live.
Yay! Hi, everybody.
Hello, welcome back to our show where we talk about essentially nothing for hours. Insomniacs in the morning.
Hours plural? Are we just going to start doing an 8-hour show?
I mean, it's pretty much like we like say that we're going to be doing a certain time and then we go way past that time. So, but we really can't today. So, I can't get any closer to my mic. Hold on. I'm having some technical errors here. So, we haven't done this
We don't
in
remember how to do this show anymore because it's been 3 weeks and
like a 3 weeks was enough to make us forget how to like set up for this show.
there was a moment while we were starting when I almost forgot to record in Audacity and then asked Ryan if he was, and he admitted that he also had almost forgotten to record. So,
Well, we also have a Google Doc that we use, and I forgot to open that. And I'm sitting there being like, I'm ready to go. Then I couldn't find my headphones, and it turns out those are just gone. So
wait, really?
I think I just need to replace them.
Headphones.
These are Ben's. I texted him and I was like, I just took your headphones. I can't find mine. I mean, chances are what really happened is the dog took them because she's done this in the past where she steals headphones that we leave out.
She didn't eat them.
No, she doesn't eat them. She just takes them and hides them in her crate, and we never see them again.
Okay, so anyway, if you're listening to the audio-only version of this podcast, it was a victory. And by the way, there's an audio-only version of this show. I don't ever say that until the end at a point where no one cares anymore. But if you're watching this and you would like to hear a version of it that's way better than this, it's on iTunes.
That's better than Google Hangouts.
It is. It's way better. And Anyway, okay, so let's do this.
We have all sorts of stuff to talk about. And don't forget, you can email us your questions at insomniacsinthemorning@gmail.com, and we read them at the end. So if you have anything to ask us or anything you want us to talk about, send them to us. And I'll bring it up again before we get into the topic list. But we do have a prompt today, which is tell us about your dream vacation. So,
is that what it is? I thought, Okay, that's a good prompt. Just tell us what vacation you want to take, guys.
Yeah. So, okay. We just got back from vacation, which is why it took us so long to get back. And for me, my life is like
Ryan had to like work ahead of the vacation, go on vacation, and then catch up on work after he got back.
I mean, that's pretty much. We took a 3-week. But Maddy also was in the same boat because that same week you were like writing.
The beginning before vacation. Wasn't I in the recording studio again? Is that
no? You were. It wasn't even that. Yeah, I mean, maybe it was, but you were also writing those like 3 extra articles.
I was like doing extra work as a favor for a friend, and then I also had to go to the recording studio that week. So I was like, Ryan, I can't do this. But I know Ryan was too busy anyway, so whatever. We took 3 weeks off, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
It was great. Now. It was a good vacation. It was worth it. I mean, we talked about it.
We need to take a vacation from this show.
No, we need to take a vacation from all the stress in our lives. But I mean, honestly, I had talked about it on the show that I shot this Airbnb that was trading me the photography for like a week there, essentially at the house, and it was on this cove called Jordan's Cove in Connecticut, and it was really beautiful. Everybody really loved it. And also everybody had a really hard time coming back to the real world after this.
Yeah, I know I did.
It was like,
sad that I had to go home and work.
I know. It was just this huge house. And I kept on amping it up to everyone. And I was like, oh, we understand you're excited. But I think when everyone got there, they were like, okay, this place is really cool.
I mean, I thought it would be cool, but I guess I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited about going on vacation.
Well, that's because you do what I do, and you also worry about all the work. But I completely disconnected while I was there. I like posted one picture, I think, over the course of the week, and I was like, I'm not coming back online, maybe ever.
Ryan, because in the post you were like, I'm totally disconnecting, guys. So here's one photo, bye. And everyone was like, well, Ryan, you managed to write this post.
I know. It was so funny how many people were so angry about that. And I was just like,
literally, you like really weren't. I was hanging out with you, so I know that you weren't on the internet. And also, you haven't been on the internet for a really long time. Do you want to talk about that too?
I do. Okay. So, I mean, this vacation was... I think it's the first time I like legitimately relaxed in over 2 years because my go-to was to do one on the Cape Cod trip. But since Katie's like family sold that house, we haven't figured out where to do our annual vacation for a couple of years. So I just decided never to relax ever. And I relaxed a lot there. And there was it was like like a spiritual journey for myself, essentially, because like
Relaxing is cool, guys.
it wasn't just relaxing. It was like, I mean, there was a lot of wine drinking and whiskey drinking happening, but
Not
like
on my
a lot.
it's been
No,
well established
you had
on my
mimosas though, which is more than I've ever seen you drink. So,
only because after we opened that champagne, I was like, well, someone has to drink this now. But I didn't get drunk.
yeah, that's true.
Champagne. There's like no alcohol in that.
That's true. But like, I spent a lot of time just hanging out on the dock or the upper deck that was connected to my room, which I loved and decided that I really want that as a life
can
goal.
We just buy this house? Do you think that's like
perfect.
A possibility
I
that
know.
we could just buy it and everyone could live there? It's like millions of dollars, but that's fine, right?
We make billions from Gino. Don't worry about it. We'll get to that in a second. But so anyway, the point of this story is that like I spent a lot of time not on the internet, obviously hanging with my friends, but even when like things were winding down or when you guys weren't even there yet, because there was a period of time when it was just Steph and I.
Hanging out.
Yeah, and we would just kind of separate, and she would go hang out on the hammock, and then I would go up in the balcony, and I would just make a lot of art. And I was like, I forgot what this is like, because technically video editing is like an art form for me, and so is photography, but it's also a lot of work. And as like when I'm sitting there just like making art on a piece of paper or whatever I'm using, it's just like an abstract experience. And I was like, I don't know why I don't do this anymore. This is something that sort of brings me back to my roots. And also like I forgot like how connected I am with the earth, like and just I'm somebody that's like, I'm not spiritual in a sense where like I'm like, oh, like earth
concrete things, but you like hiking around. And no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So, and I was just sort of like, okay, well, when I came back, I wasn't really depressed. I was sort of thinking about like, okay, so when I was on vacation, I was like, I have everything that I need here, and I didn't bring that much. I'm like, I had my friends, I had a way to make art, I had a way to get online if I needed to, which I really didn't. And I spent a lot of time outside, and I'm like, why do we have so much shit in this house? So Ben and I have sort of started this project to not only just sort of look into the future about getting out of this place, but also like not really keeping crap we don't need. And it's really great. The house is a mess right now. As you can see behind me, this is all shit we're getting rid of. But like, I came home and, for example, like, I've had like hundreds of action figures. I think I put 90% of them into a box that I'm going to give away, and kept only the ones that like matter to me.
Really like, yeah.
Yeah, and that's.
I do this stuff all the time. I mean, you've seen my place. I've gotten rid of many things.
Well, speaking of which, I mean, you have a big empty room, but.
Well, that's because I'm reorganizing things around here.
I know, right?
But yeah, I don't have that many decorative objects anymore. But the ones that I do have are things that really matter to me.
And that's what it should be. And I'm like, I don't want to put things into boxes and them having them like downstairs in the basement.
I have a couple action figures, just to clarify.
Oh, yeah, so do I. I mean, like, if we want to play that game, we still have these ones up here. I got like the Sinister collection.
Oh, I was gonna say, is that a very blurry Mr. Sinister?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Sinister.
And it should be noted that Ryan took that Mr. Sinister on vacation with him. And so clearly Ryan had everything that he needed on this vacation.
Okay, but that's like a tradition at this point.
I just have, some boxer shorts, some t-shirts, and Mr. Sinister, and that's really all I need in life. That's really it was great, and I'm really glad that you came back from vacation feeling recharged, because I know that you've been really depressed.
Right. And so I mean, a lot of part of it too has been like, I'm only sitting down at the computer if I'm A, gonna play a game now, or if B, I'm gonna work on something. But like I'm not.
That's good.
And I'm like, this already, but I'm like, I'm only coming on looking at social media like maybe once or twice a day, and then the rest of it, I'm like, I don't.
Terrible. So
it really is, and like I don't like, if I'm missing something and somebody's like, oh, I posted it here, I'll be like, you really need to just fucking tell me if it's that important to you, like, because I'm not wasting the time going through my Twitter feed anymore. Like I'll come in and I'll check and see what's happening in that moment, or on Facebook or Instagram, but like I follow too many people.
It's surprisingly draining, and it makes you fall into the habit of not talking to your friends. It's not the internet per se. I have a lot of friends who I only talk to on GChat or Facebook Messenger or whatever, like one-on-one, and that's great. But I so much prefer that form of interaction to just tweeting something and hoping that my friends see it. You know, like if I want you to know something, I'll definitely message you. But anyway, yeah, I'm always telling people, like, stop doing the social media rat race. Like, just talk to your friends. It sounds like such a basic piece of advice, but like, it's so
it's
much better to live your life that way
I
because
don't. I mean, I get it. I get it now, and like
God, Twitter's bad. Anyway, should we talk about some of this other stuff?
yeah. Okay. So
Because you've been
would.
doing Horrorfest. Do you want to talk about that too?
All right,
Also,
so I
Guido is
posted
doing
it on my
this.
vlog a little bit, but I was going to Horrorfest to help out with my friend's new haunt, Evidence of Evil, and they did that the Chamber, which is an escape room, but it's horror themed. It reminded me a lot of Resident Evil 7. Um, okay, Maddie can't hear me. I don't know why. Maddie, can you hear me now? Nope. Hello? Hello? Jiggle jiggle? Oh my god. Wouldn't it be great if like nobody could hear me this entire time? We'll find out. Nope. Maddie, Maddie, can you hear me? Okay, it's Maddie. So I'll keep on telling this story until she comes back in, essentially. But basically, I did a horror fest, which is my friend's escape room, or the convention itself had the escape room, and it was a really cool experience because I got to hide inside this room and wait to scare people when they came in, including people who I didn't like, who knew me, but I didn't recognize them. And I couldn't say what I was doing, but I definitely acquired quite a few injuries over that time because I got massive rug burn. Um, I don't know where Maddie went. I think she's restarting her entire computer, so that's fun. Okay, so anyway, like I kept on rolling around on the ground screaming at people because I was supposed to either distract them or are you alive? No sound. I don't know what to tell you, Maddie. She's leaving again. To either distract them or give them pieces to the clues. But since we changed what the clues were in the middle of the actual haunt, I didn't. I stopped giving them clues and started to like throw them off instead. And I would have to drag myself around the room, and I was in chains. So I was definitely like bleeding all over the place, which was really funny because afterwards they were like, "What's all this red stuff on the carpet?" And I was like, "Oh, I guess I was actually bleeding because I got myself rug burned and all that crap." And it was totally worth it. I'm committed 100% to the haunt, and it was really great. And you can check them out at evidenceofevil.com and on Facebook, and they're doing all sorts of stuff in the New England area this upcoming October, but they're not doing like an official haunt yet. They're sort of doing traveling stuff, so you can check them out online. What else am I talking about? I don't know what is going on with Maddie right now, so I'm just talking and hoping to God that like this is not like the worst episode we have ever done. Watch this. This is actually when Google Hangouts has decided to go completely offline, so that's cool. All right. I know this is like not very interesting. So, all right, what else can I talk about while Maddie's gone? I went and did technically photos for Kalomo Jordan's art gallery opening in Tisane. He's a DJ and he also does artwork, which is really sort of like abstract and cool and sort of reaches into your like sixth senses or whatever. And he did like a bunch of new like sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's not really, I guess it could be considered like Egyptian symbolism and stuff. And he like posted them up on the walls at Tisane's, and he also got to DJ that night, which I didn't get to see because I don't know what happened. He like disappeared and started DJing late. So like I left at like 1 because there was a lot of like stupid people that were just attending the event. And I was like, I don't know what's going on because this is not the typical crowd that comes to see Kalomo stuff. I think it's just the people who go to this venue. So, she wants me to invite her again. So I shot this, and it was cool. And they had a custom drink called the Kalomotion, which was like tequila and stuff to get you in trouble. And it was really delicious. And I took pictures of it and I posted it up on my Instagram and stuff. And yeah, I really love working with them. And I also did, they're the same people I do Petty with every month. And we have a big one coming up this October that is combining the powers of like everybody who works with it, which are the artists and Kalomo and Love Tribe, and Evidence of Evil, which are the people I did the haunt for. And they are going to be combining to do this thing called Night of Nightmares, which we're going to be doing like all sorts of like the dead is coming and doing like a bar crawl across all of New Haven. Can you hear me?
Hey.
Hi.
So my computer just blue screened and I don't know if it will ever start again. So this is me on my really shitty microphone and my laptop, but I'm here.
Oh my God. I don't even want to know what the audio or only version of this podcast is going to even work now.
At least you can hear me. All right. I'll start recording in Audacity again on this computer, and hopefully my other file will be there. I'm really sorry, guys, but it wouldn't be an episode of Insomniacs if it didn't sound like complete shit, right? Like that's kind of part of this game that we're playing.
Yep.
Okay.
I was talking about all the events I did. I'm not going to re-explain them because we can't go back, but I was in the middle of
I
talking
know.
about...
I'll listen to them in the audio-only version of the show.
Okay.
I'm sorry that I just abandoned you, Ryan. I know how much it sucks to kill time.
At least it's
by yourself.
On video and not it's on stage, because that's way worse, turns out.
Oh, yes.
Because you have audiences like heckling you. I don't think anybody's watching our show today, to be honest. So
that's fine, because there's nothing to see.
Okay. All right. So I was going to say Night of Nightmares is this thing that's a bar crawl in New Haven, and everybody's going to be sort of dressing up as monsters and demons and all that kind of fun stuff. And they're going to be doing like Evidence of Evil is going to be doing sort of a special like brainwashing session that you can do at Pacific Standard Tavern. There's also just crazy shit happening. I'll talk more about it when it gets closer to that time, because I'm not sure if this particular episode is going to survive today. So I'm going to stop talking about it.
It will survive. It will survive. I'm recording again, and it'll be fine. Okay, so do you want to do workout tips?
Yeah.
Or did you already do that without me?
No, I didn't do that. I went over everything that like we had on what's going on without you. So this part where I was supposed to talk to you specifically, whatever.
I'm really sorry. I don't know what's wrong with my computer, but it is really old. And maybe today's the day when it finally decided that I don't get to use it anymore. That might have happened. That may have just happened. Because it was kind of scary on my end. You know what? It doesn't matter. I'll tell you about it later.
What the hell?
Let's talk about workout tips.
All right.
So the theme this week is vacation, because we've already talked about vacation, like, a lot.
And obviously, like a lot of people don't want to work while they're on vacation or work out when they're on vacation, but
don't work while you're on vacation.
Let's go don't do that part.
And say that. But you can work out if you want to, because I like doing that, because I know working out is like a chore, but it can also be a habit as opposed to just a chore. It's trying to make
something
it a habit
that will hopefully make you feel better, even if you're like relaxing on vacation. So for us, we did like a lot of like walking and hiking.
And we also did a lot of lying in hammocks. That part's
we did do that too.
too.
That was really important. But like, we had the dogs, so we're like, let's go for a hike. So we would do that every single day and like
we would. But
get some exercise in and then eat a ton of burgers.
Yes. The people who own this house let us use their boats, which was really cool. So there was like a board that you stand on, like a skiff. It's sort of like a surfboard, but it's designed for you to just stand on it and
paddle.
Use a big paddle, a tall paddle that you paddle around with. And so Caro rode that and didn't ever fall in, and Steph rode it and instantly fell in multiple times.
We have plenty of video of that. That was great.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that on this public show, but I just fucking did. Sorry, Steph.
I don't think she cares, because there's like so many videos that got posted on social media of her falling in us and her laughing. There was a point where she was like being blown out to sea, and we were all just standing there laughing. And Kara was like, "I think I'm gonna go save her," because I feel like
there was a specific point when we all stopped laughing and we were like, "Wait, Steph's really far out." Like it wasn't just Kara. Like we were all like, "Wait a minute." Steph's really far away, guys. Like, should we go get her? And Carol actually did take the kayak and paddle out there and make sure that she was okay.
She wasn't. Steph had gotten her footing, but like,
yeah, she was like, I was fine, guys. And we're like, listen, Steph, we wanted to make sure you were fine. So that's a good workout. Really get your heart rate up. Like, get worried about your friend's safety while you're watching the dog.
Or blow out to sea. It's great. No, so like a lot of it for us was just like getting out and walking around. You don't need to run or anything. And honestly, walking is the best exercise you can do.
Yeah, especially the kind that we were doing, which was like walking around on trails and on the beach and stuff.
Yep.
Catching Pokemon, which we talked about on this show.
I know. I mean, do you want to just use that to like sort of leeway, like transition into like pop culture news?
Sure. I will say though that I kayaked. I don't think I've ever actually kayaked before on that trip, and I really liked it. So if
I'll post some pictures on Twitter for people to see. If
yeah,
anybody's
see my
listening to the show,
sweet guns.
I'm not really convinced anybody's watching the show because it says that if there's one viewer, which is already not correct because there's two of us here. So I don't. If you're listening to the show, tweet at us and say that you're listening because apparently Google won't tell me anymore. So that's
Don't
cool.
worry about it. It's fine.
I know. Well, they probably all left anyway when Maddy left, and they're like, "Who the fuck's this guy?"
I'm really sorry. Okay, so let's talk about 3 weeks of pop culture news that we missed.
Yeah, but we're gonna pick things that we want to talk about, and since we just said Pokemon Go, we'll go right there. So they did an update. I don't know if you've updated yet, but like you can add a buddy now, like a Pokemon buddy.
I haven't added my buddy yet. I did update it, but I haven't added it.
Yeah, it's really fucking great. So like you get basically like for me, I have Growlithe, so Growlithe walks with me, walks in quotation marks, and like essentially like as you walk, like it's the same thing as hatching an egg, except instead you're like doing 5. I think it's like 5 miles or whatever, and then like Growlithe will get candies or whatever. So you can use that to sort of slowly build up candies if you want to evolve them. If you're not like, I never see Growlithe, so like I think this is the only way I'm gonna ever achieve getting an Arcanine is if I keep on walking this Growlithe. But that's what it's for, and I think it's pretty cool. And a lot of people are like, "But where's the tracking system?" And they're like, "Why can't they do that one thing?" And I'm sort of like, I think it's just a really difficult thing for them to program because it like uses the GPS of the world.
Yeah,
so
and
I mean,
it's gonna probably affect your battery life to have that on there.
Exactly. So.
And I know they're trying really hard to make it so that the game isn't as much of a battery drain as it was when it first came out. But
yeah, and I know they're working on like other things, like they want to do trades and add in additional Pokemon at some point. But like
they want to do battling. I mean, I know I've heard all of this stuff.
They haven't gotten there yet. I know that like it's been a few months, but like it's still a fairly new app, you know?
Yeah, and it's also free.
It is free. Although I do
wish there was like at least one more element to it, though.
I don't understand how they make money off of it because
microtransactions. I have been reading a lot about this. I mean, partly for my job, and we've been covering it at TMS. But even though a whole bunch of people have quit the game, they're still doing really well financially because everybody needs an incubator sometimes.
That's funny. I mean, I've spent $0 on this game.
Same, but a few of our friends have spent money on it.
Oh, like during vacation, Katie was like, yeah, I just had spent $15 on this game right now to get Pokeballs to catch Pokemon here. And I'm like, I mean, it's nothing even rare here. What are you doing? Like,
I think if you play it as much as Katie does, I mean, Kara's in the same boat. She plays it more than I do for sure. So she was talking to me about how she buys incubators so that she can hatch more Pokemon. I mean, it depends on what you want to get, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I didn't. I just don't spend any additional money on games unless it's like DLC that's worth it. And like you can get I guess you can get more incubators, but you have the infinite one and you just keep on putting eggs
but what
in
if you want to hatch a lot of Pokemon? Listen, I haven't spent any money on this game because I don't have any money.
Enough.
But if I had enough disposable income that I was like, I'll buy a few more of these, then I would probably do it without even thinking about it. Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's move on.
So there's also this other show, I guess, that I don't know why they keep on advertising it like this, but there's going to be this thing called Pokemon Generations, which is like a bunch of Pokemon shorts that retells like the story of Red and Blue. And they're like, but it's going to be much darker than the original TV show. I hope you're ready for this much darker version of Pokemon. But like, I don't know what the hell that means. Like,
it's going to be really gritty.
Like, are the Pokemon going to die? I mean,
they're going to fucking die.
I don't know what to expect. They already did sort of like this Pokemon retelling of the first like games and story from the TV show. Like, it came out like a couple years ago. And it was like a 2-part OVA or whatever. And like,
wow, they only have like 2 ideas. So they got to keep coming up with ways to make the story of Ash Ketchum into more of a different thing. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's obviously that they're sort of marketing it to go along with Pokemon Go at this point. Because, I mean, it's focusing on the same Pokemon in Pokemon Go. So,
yeah. But also, you know, the Pokemon brand is strong right now.
Like the Force?
Yeah, the brand of Pokemon is strong. Because, you know, Pokemon Go got Nintendo a bunch of good press, even though they had absolutely nothing to do with it at all. So I think they're kind of like, okay, how do we make some money off of the fact that Pokemon matters again? I mean, so.
Other game news, Resident Evil 7, they had a trailer that released that sort of like demoed more of the story of the game and updated the demo, which you have not played, but it would piss you off immediately.
Oh, would it?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. They're like, okay, so first of all, you find the hand that the dummy finger attaches to, but it still doesn't do anything.
That's what it appeared to be. Yeah. I was looking at this screen cap that Steph took of attaching the dummy finger, which is from the Resident Evil 7 first demo that we played together and talked about on this show at length, and did nothing in the demo. You attach it to this dummy hand, I guess. And I was looking at the picture and I was like, there's no way this does anything. Like, I can tell from this picture that it does jack shit.
I know.
Like,
I mean,
what?
I don't know. And like, all they did that changed in the demo update that they like amped up was that they expanded the attic room, in which you pick up some like ammo, but there's no gun. And you pick up the dummy finger and you read something that's on the wall and you get a basement key, but you can't use the basement key because it's boarded up. And they're like, if you want to play the whole game, you got to buy it now. So they give you the option to pre-purchase it.
How'd that go for them? Did people want to buy it? Because I
think some people want to play it, but it's not like, from what I understand, and I keep reading because I follow like all the Resident Evil social media. Whenever they post something, there's some people that's like, oh, this looks really cool and like, you know, scary. And then there's just people that's like a lot of people that are like, this doesn't look like Resident Evil at all. Which is
true.
And then like, even if the only part that it may work out for them is that it seems to be like a zombie family. Like that's what the trailer is like sort of portraying, is that there's like families that are staying alive by like eating people like at family dinner. But it's really like, it's not, you know, it's like, it's not Resident Evil. I mean, like, I know people were complaining about Resident Evil 6 where it was too actiony and not horror enough, and I get that, but it's like, there's nothing about it that reminds us about Resident Evil. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I don't know. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I did really enjoy playing the demo with you guys, and I'm kind of sad that the update to the demo didn't really actually add anything. I was thinking it'd be cool if it added like more rooms or more plot points.
Or like, I mean, they're saying that it's not even related to the actual game, so it seems.
Yeah, that's very strange. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens when it actually comes out. But this whole thing has been really weird for them, because I feel like it got Resident Evil back in the news cycle for a little bit there, but then they kind of squandered that opportunity. You know what I mean? Like everybody was talking about them for a few weeks, and then Capcom kind of missed their own boat on it by waiting a really long time, releasing an update to the demo that I heard basically nothing at all about. So I'm not surprised here that it was only one room and that it was like a couple useless items and that's it, because I don't know. I didn't hear about it at all until Steph posted the screen cap, and I was like, holy shit, this updated, and no one I know talked about it at all. So I don't know. That seems like a bad sign, but yeah.
I agree. So, I mean, I don't know. Steph had that point too, where she's like, I don't really want to play a Resident Evil game that's a hide from the monster game. That's not Resident Evil to us. So
yeah, stealth. I hate stealth. I don't
like stealth games either. That's too much patience for me. I don't have any of that shit. So.
Oh, well. So I guess, you know, us Resident Evil fans, we just hate it now. We hate Resident Evil now.
No, that's not true.
I know.
I was playing Resident Evil 6 with Steph last night.
I know, and you guys are the only people still playing that game as far as I can tell. So do you want to talk about X-Men for a second?
Yeah, let's talk about that, because they released the deleted scenes of X-Men, particularly the mall scene, which I've been trying to get Ben to watch, but it's like not anywhere you can watch on like either like YouTube or something. No, you sent it to me and it's on Tumblr or whatever, but Vimeo, is that where it's at?
Mm-hmm. They may have deleted that one. I mean, it's on the Blu-ray. They really want you to buy the Blu-ray. They don't want us to be uploading
Blu-ray
it.
Isn't even out yet.
How are people watching it then?
Because you can, if you buy it on iTunes, you can watch it.
Okay.
But if you buy it on Amazon, if you buy the digital copy, which is what we did, it does not come with any of that.
Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah, and it's all the same fucking price, so whatever.
Wow, that's really bullshit. I'm really
sorry. But anyway,
sorry.
so somebody did post the mall montage, and it was it's basically what you said in your Mary Sue article, where you're like, this is really what the movie should have been like in terms of characterization and characters that were being used instead of like this weird, wacky, all over the place Magneto, Xavier, Mystique just kind of standing there, you know?
Mm-hmm. But really, the movie needed more than just the mall scene. Like, I wasn't just saying, "Oh, this scene should have been in there, and that would have helped." I was saying like, the whole movie needed to have a different attitude. I think about what the future of the X-Men is supposed to look like, and the mall scene is like really cute and hopeful, and the movie is really grim. So that was weird. That was a strange...
I mean, and you also pointed out that if it kept in there, it would have been like right next to another montage scene with Quicksilver running around. So you understand why it didn't flow right.
I don't know how they would have done that. I like, in watching it, I was like, oh, I get where this would have gone, and I get why film-wise they were like, the Quicksilver montage is way more entertaining, and like, we need that to be there. Yeah. I get it. But I don't know, man. This movie
is so weird. I mean, and even in watching the deleted scenes where like they cut like so much stuff that probably should have stayed in the movie instead of like all this other weird stuff.
Yeah, I was sad that they cut some Storm stuff. I mean, we did like a fan rewrite of X-Men Apocalypse, and we still have to make that video, by the way.
Well, it needs to be released in a way that we can also sort of like splice it in there.
Yeah, but now that the deleted scenes are out, I think we can probably make that happen.
They cut a lot of Jubilee from that movie.
I'm upset about it. They cut a lot of Jubilee, and I know they cut at least a couple of Storm's lines. And, like, she already has so few that it's like, why did you make this happen? But whatever. I don't get it. I do not get it.
But the mall scene is perfect, and it's like, it sort of reminds me of X-Men Evolution a little bit, where it's just like the kids hanging out. Yeah. But like the part of the X-Men where like they hang out, and like that's what they want to do, is they hang out in public as just themselves. You know what I mean?
I do, but I mean, we talked about this, but I think they really felt like it would play it safe for them to focus on the actors in that movie who are already really popular at this point. Mm-hmm. Like, making the movie about Jennifer Lawrence and Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy, like, that's a really safe way to go, you know? Like, I get why financially they were like, let's just keep in all the scenes with those three actors because we already know they're really popular. But, like,
I don't know if
unfortunately, Magneto and Xavier and Mystique, like, that's a story that's already been told in the original X-Men movies. You know, like, we've already really seen that dynamic play out in, like, a very cool way. And at this point, I don't really need to see three different actors do it again. Like, I like all those actors. That
could have worked. I mean, it could have if they really wanted to, but they didn't, because Days of Future Past was a movie
I liked that movie. But then
it still featured them in a way that, like, it worked for them while telling the story about all the new characters. You know what I mean?
But how many times can you do that again? Like, what?
I don't know. I
really thought that X-Men Apocalypse was going to introduce us to those new students and sort of make us care
sort of
about
did,
them.
but not really.
No, it really didn't, because it seems like those are the scenes that they were like, no one wants to know about Jubilee, and nobody... There weren't even any more deleted scenes of, like, Jean and Scott, or, like, really the core group hanging out. Like, there's the mall scene, but I was like, I don't even think
the movie really should follow the four of them instead of, you know, like, Xavier again. Because they really didn't do anything in the entire movie, because the whole movie was about them saving Xavier.
And yet, Xavier was somehow the main character of the movie.
I know. And also saving Magneto, like...
I know. It's more like writing and editing problems than like the look of the movie.
We'll like do our little mock-up thing and do it on Atomic Blue Productions, and we can sort of, you know, talk about that.
We'll show you what they should have done with
what they should have done.
Because you're clearly experts on making massively high-budget action movies.
Wait,
and
so
I don't
speaking
know why no
of
one will
Magneto,
call us.
can you tell me about this Michael Fassbender thing?
Yeah, I could say this really quick. This is like a nothing news item that came out like a week ago that I just thought was so friggin' funny.
Yeah, you couldn't stop laughing about it.
Apparently can't stand watching himself act, which is like adorably relatable to me, because I really like it whenever famous people admit that they don't like themselves, because I'm like, they're human, yay! So he was talking about how anytime he watches like Days of Future Past, I think, which is a great movie, he's like very embarrassed by his performance, and he can't watch it without cringing and being like, oh, why is Magneto shouting so much? I assume in that reference he's referring to like the fight that he and Xavier have on that plane,
Oh my god!
I figured that was what he was talking about, where he was like, it's just a guy shouting. I hate this. And I just like thought that was really funny. And he was also talking about how he was like too nervous to play the role of Steve Jobs, and he tried to convince his driver, like his car driver, to break his arm for him so that he could get out of the Steve Jobs audition because he didn't think he could do it. And I'm
Oh
like,
my god!
what the fuck is wrong with Michael Fassbender? Like,
I don't know. He like just is convinced he's not a good actor for some reason.
I think it's like, well, first of all, he should probably talk to someone about these feelings of insecurity. Michael Fassbender, you don't need to feel this bad about yourself, man. You can work it out. But also, like...
Well, he's got some interesting mental...
I know he's got, like, anger issues and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all public knowledge. But, yeah, I don't know. I hope Michael Fassbender's okay. But it's always, like, interesting to hear celebrities talk about how they struggle with self-doubt, because I feel like it's very easy for us to watch these movies and be like, yeah, all these people are perfect. They never have any problems in their lives. But, yeah, it was funny and also endearing to hear him be like, I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Anyway.
What about Star Trek? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, there's a 50th anniversary of Star Trek, and TMS published a bunch of different stuff about it. I know there's a new Star Trek Discovery TV show that's coming out. It's going to have a female character in the lead, which is really neat because they haven't done that, and it'll be cool. And there's not that much information out about that yet. Even with the anniversary, they still were like very tight-lipped about what the show is actually going to be about. But yeah, so I'm psyched for that. And also, Nichelle Nichols and George Takei did like a little interview with NASA about how they inspired more diverse astronauts to become astronauts, basically. And it was like a really cool interview, and about how fiction can actually inspire people to do cool stuff in real life.
I mean, think about it. Like, a lot of the shit that was used on like the original Star Trek show as like technology we now have.
I know, that's sweet too. Yeah, like iPads and stuff.
Yeah, like that all exists. Like,
yeah, but at the time it didn't. It's just that when you watch it now, it's hard to remember, like, oh, right, like, they didn't have any of the technology.
Right, but I think the point is that, like, it inspired the scientists to figure out how to build it. But Ben always says this, too. He says that there's already a lot of science in Star Trek that's, like, correct. Like, they do the research for it, especially in the Next Generation.
Yeah, well, by then, more stuff had been invented. For the original series...
Well, the original series is a wacky sci-fi show.
It is, but there's still some pretty impressive technology ideas on the the series.
Yeah, exactly. I know you're a big Star Trek fan, so...
I mean, now, but, not when I was growing up.
I'm the same, and I didn't get into it until I started dating Ben, like, 7 years ago, and we, like, watched a ton of The Next Generation, and I really loved that. More than the original show, so... You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the original series is really fun, but that's just me. Okay, do we want to talk about any of this other stuff, or?
No, let's just do the throwback.
Okay.
Unless you're ready, unless you want to.
No, it's cool. Let's keep going.
Okay, yeah, because we got to stay on schedule today. So if today's throwback is a movie we watched while we were on vacation that I haven't watched since it like essentially was in theaters, was the original Shrek movie.
Yes.
And it's old enough to be a throwback, which I did not realize until we were watching it. And
it sure is. This movie is like 15 years old.
You know what's really funny is that even when I watched it the first time, like I thought it was funny then, but I really liked Shrek 2 a lot more, and I've seen that again.
That's still the case. I think a lot of people, when they're talking about the Shrek movies, they're like, Shrek 2 is the good one. I feel like that's
because
something.
like it's the better written. It's like well written, and like nobody remembers the 3 or 4. Like, it's really, it's like people remember the second Shrek movie, but not the first or any of its sequels.
Yeah, that's really strange.
I know,
but I don't know. That happens sometimes. Like X2 is a great movie.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. People tend to like the second Star Wars movie. Sometimes the second movie in a trilogy is like the one that people like. But it's kind of funny to say that with Shrek, because it's like, a children's comedy with like the occasional raunchy humor. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. For whatever reason, Shrek 2 is the one people like. But yeah, we watched the first Shrek. And
it was just like, I had trouble just like keeping my attention on it, honestly. It's like, it's just a weirdly paced movie where like some of the jokes are really funny, and then like a whole lot of like Shrek arguing with Donkey happens, and I'm like,
that's true.
Not really interested in that
stuff. Mostly what I think is interesting about Shrek is that it was such a reference point of its time. Like, it's not even just the fact that there's a Smash Mouth song at the beginning, which I know is like the joke everybody tells about how it like, is such a product of its
No,
time.
but it was like everything else that
Happens in it.
Like Fiona does like a Matrix thing.
Yes, she does. And also like everything about Shrek was intended as a parody / commentary on Disney movie tropes, which that's been done so many times since then. That
which
like,
I guess
you know,
people sort of
Disney
forget about.
has done it. Like Enchanted, I love that movie, but like there have been so many other movies that have parodied Disney at this point.
I think Shrek 2 still did it better. I mean, I'm not to come back to Shrek 2, but like
I mean, Shrek 2 continued with the vein, but Shrek sort of introduced the idea of like, oh, what if we have like a princess and it turns out that she, you know, has interesting flaws and like is a character
and is also
like,
an ogre.
But it's also it's like very 101 level. Like the characters have very little characterization in Shrek. Like this is part of why I think Shrek 2 kind of makes me retroactively care about anyone in Shrek.
Well, I think exactly. I think part of it is that like the things that that people liked about Shrek, they did actually go and make a sequel, and they were like, oh, let's take these ideas and expand on them and make them interesting and fun, and like, you know, like they did do that, and that's why it was successful, because like it's the same thing that X2 did, where like they had a base movie that worked and was like interesting enough to have people talk about for a long time, and then
sure, or like, Star Wars. Yeah, I think it's funny that we're like comparing Shrek to live action movies, but yeah.
Well, there's not really like an animated like.
Yeah, there's not really a comparable animated movie that. Like,
I mean, the big animated movies are all Disney, and all their sequels are like straight to like home movie or whatever, and like
straight into the garbage.
Yeah, pretty much. They're really like all terrible. Like to the point where their TV shows that they make to go along with it are usually better than the sequels themselves.
Yeah, God, yeah. So, I always forget that Disney even makes sequels, but they do. There's a Little Mermaid 2 out there for you.
There's an Aladdin 2. Actually, the only one that people remember is Aladdin 2.
Mm-hmm. I feel like people talk about Little Mermaid 2 a little bit too. Like, not because it's good, but because there's like a small cult fan base for it, I feel like.
Yeah, probably. I honestly
And Aladdin
don't remember.
had an animated TV show also, which I remember.
Yeah, Aladdin was like huge. Like Aladdin, I think of all of them, it was the ones that they all got TV shows, but Aladdin was like the one that everyone remembers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Although, like, that's not the kind of movie that Shrek is parodying. Like, I would say that Shrek was explicitly parodying stuff like Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid, like that specific.
And like Cinderella and Snow White and stuff like that. They were like
literally
in the movie.
4 movies. Yeah. And like those, it's a commentary on that specific structure. It's not even really making reference to some of the like second wave feminism, like Mulan, and like, you know, Disney being like, I don't know, what if we let a female character do something? Like it's not even really, they're not even really getting to that point yet. They're like really just doing the princess thing. And I guess in 2001 or whenever it came out, I think that's around when it came out, that felt really fresh. Like I remember watching it and being like, this is amazing. Like this princess, you know, she appears conventionally attractive, but it turns out she's an ogre.
She's an ogre.
Like that's cool to me. Like I really enjoyed all of those things. Like watching it now, I'm kind of like, all right, we've seen it before. But I mean, you got to remember like how revolutionary that was. You know what I mean?
And it was also revolutionary for DreamWorks at the time, because this was the movie that like let them get big and start making other movies. So I mean, it sort of paved the way for things. So I mean, it's just weird because it's like such a weird movie to go back and rewatch, because it's really awkward in terms of like the pacing and the editing. And Kara also was pointing out like she's like, well, the animation like we thought was great at the time, but she's like they hadn't really figured out a lot of things yet.
There's a lot of inconsistency in terms of like how detailed different people's faces are.
Right, and she was like,
some people look really cartoony. She was pointing this out, and like they don't.
I never noticed it before until she pointed it out. She's like, it's clearly like that the movie wasn't done when it was released, and
or they had to like rush certain things, or they just didn't know how to do some things.
Yeah.
Like she knows way more about animation than we do, and she was pointing out all these things about it. But yeah, it was really neat. It was neat to rewatch it and kind of think about like how long ago it came out and realize how dated it is. I don't know.
And it was also interesting to watch it within that group because all of us had watched it together like forever ago, and now we're all grown up. And
boyfriend, who I don't know if you knew this, but he had never seen.
Oh, I know,
Shrek
which
before.
is weird because he's dating Katie, and like
it is weird, and it's kind of adorable. So he had never seen it before, but also quietly didn't tell us that, and just like silently watched it because we were all like, "We've seen this a million times," and we're like quoting along with it.
Then you guys went to bed, and then like.
I felt bad because I was like, oh. Like,
I walked away after you guys. When you went to bed, I walked away. I was just like fucking around in the kitchen, cleaning stuff up. So like, it was funny because I finished it out, and I was like, all right, I'm just like done with this movie right now. So
yeah, I think everybody else was like not paying attention, and like Kara and I went to bed, but Katie and Nick stayed up and watched it because Nick had never seen it before.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it was interesting that like you, me, and Kara were like watching it as adults and being like, you're like. The writing here is like not really great, and Carol's like the animation here, and I'm like, and it's really weirdly edited. Like the three of us were be like, we're like breaking down the movie,
being a bunch of dicks.
I don't know. Well, it's because like we have all this knowledge on this shit now because we've made and been working on projects, and like like when we were kids, we're like it was something we looked up to doing and being like, oh, this is fun. We want to create things like we want to create a parody movie. Let's do that. But like now it's been like 10 years and we've had actual experience. We're like. Wow, it's like not really like like it's a fun movie. It's fun to watch, but
I was definitely thinking about D-Men once again while we were watching it, where I was like, oh, this is another movie that just had random parodies in it that we all saw, and then we were like, let's make a parody movie.
I know. Except I think Shrek is a little bit better at being
like
similar to it
and some of the other things.
No, because they do the same thing that David did, which is like literally just recreate a scene.
Yeah, like the Matrix thing. There's no joke there other than remember the Matrix. Like that's the extent of the joke in that scene.
The only joke that I really think is funny in that entire movie is when Fiona's singing to the birds in the nest, and she
like that part.
And like the bird explodes, and like she looks at the eggs lovingly, and that just fades into her frying the eggs.
It's
I love that.
Great.
I think
that is like a parody of Disney stuff. Like that's not a parody. It's not like a reference to anything. That's just like a weird surrealist moment of like.
It's a really clever joke, though.
How princesses can always sing and charm animals. What if they used that power to kill them?
And also like survive in the woods. Like I did like that. So.
Yeah, I liked that stuff too. I thought it was cool at the time for sure. Now I'm kind of like, all right, this is a little basic in terms of the themes, but yeah.
All right, let's do some reader mail. Okay. First of all, today's we didn't get a lot of emails in today, but like we did do a prompt for like what was your dream vacation, and it looks like Taylor answered us.
Yay, hi Taylor.
Hi Maddy and Ryan. Hope you both enjoyed your 2 weeks away. I'm moving apartments later this week, so hopefully I will get a break soon. My ideal vacation spot is having a deck chair set up in the living room of our new apartment. I would have an end table right beside it with my phone and a plate of cookies. Everything would be unpacked, and I know exactly where it was.
That sounds really good.
If it were any other week, I would say Iceland, but for now, I need to go load up more boxes. Love the show, Taylor. That's really fun. That was really funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like, vacation spot is like knowing where my shit is.
Well, also like being unpacked. Like you know what it's like to move. It's terrible, and unpacking sucks. And you have to figure out where to put everything in the new place. Blah blah blah. It's the worst.
I have the opposite problem. It's like once when I've been living here for a while, I'm like, okay, we need to make space because in the moving process, I'm very meticulous, and I'm like, all right, here's the box. I label everything that's in there because I'm crazy. And then I direct where it goes when it goes into the next place. So like when I first moved in with Ben, I was like, okay, I know where everything is because they're all in specific boxes. Like,
Yeah, you're probably a great person to move with because you're like.
People should hire me to like move their shit, like not move the shit, but to organize it for them, and then organize where people are moving it to, and then everybody knows where their shit is.
Okay. Are you making a career transition away from videography and photography into a career where you just organize people's shit for them? I don't know, Ryan. I think you probably get really frustrated with that job after.
I mean, I already don't want to be an event planner because I was thinking about how I don't want to deal with the aspects of that are that. So.
Yep. Unfortunately, dealing with people is part of moving.
That's true.
I'm going to discourage you from this job. But Taylor, if you want Ryan's services, apparently he'll be available to you.
We could trade some artwork. It's cool. So we have another email that was from a couple weeks ago that came in like right after the last show we did. from Nate, and he writes, "Good morning, Ryan and Maddie. I can totally say good morning because I know exactly what time of day it is when you will be reading this." I don't think he's in the same time zone as us. So I have a question for you two. Have either of you tried using exercise bands? I've been thinking about investing in a set so that I can add a little extra activity into one day. I have a very stressful but very sedate office job, and I think being able to work out a bit while on the job would help relieve stress and keep me healthy. Unfortunately, a weight set is out of my price range right now, and weights seem like they would be obnoxious to bring to work on a regular basis.
Oh, heck yeah. I have used exercise bands. Have you, Ryan, at all?
No, I steered away from them actually, because basically this is a horror story where I had a friend who had the exercise
snapped.
Yeah, and he had it on a door, and the whole thing snapped, and the door hit them in the face, and he lost half his teeth and had to get them all replaced. And he was a young dude at the time. He was in his early 20s, and just snapped, and the door knob hit him in the face.
Yeah, I have heard about
speed.
Stuff like that happening, and that's why I don't ever put an elastic band on a door or on a handle. I know you can hang it on the wall and do this motion.
And that sounds terrifying to me.
I've never done it, and I don't recommend that you do it. However, there are some exercise bands movements that you can do that I think are pretty cool. The one that I used to do with an exercise band that it's sort of like you buy these resistance fabric things online and you can tie the ends together and make a circle. This would be kind of a weird one for you to do at work, but it's pretty cool. You put it around your ankles and then you lift your leg to the side. And you're working out the side of your thigh by doing that. And you can definitely feel it.
I know what you're talking about. Okay. That would work.
Yeah. And even while I was doing that, there was one time when I broke a resistance band doing that, and it didn't hurt me because it just flew off. So that can happen. Eventually they deteriorate. The rubber deteriorates if you use it enough. So just do it in a place, do it in your cubicle or whatever. Yeah. And the other one that you can do is you can put the band underneath your foot and then grab the other. This is another a circle band that you've tied together. You can grab the other band and do curls with it. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're talking about.
So that's something you can do. Just be aware that they can break, and don't have a cup of coffee nearby that could be knocked over by a flying piece of band it
was just me. If it wasn't me, I would just knock over the coffee anyway.
Yeah, or just knock over the coffee. Honestly, yeah.
Just get out of the way and knock it off your table earlier.
I would also say, rather than getting resistance bands, maybe just think about doing some exercises that don't require any equipment, like chair dips, where you just put your hands behind you on your chair and you do dips like this. There's, or you can do wall push-ups, which I know I've talked about on this show before. Those are things you can do in your cubicle that that don't require you to bring equipment to work. And there's a ton of other exercises like that. I was also
going to suggest just getting the little lighter weights that probably are not going to do a lot for you on muscle building, but will still give you exercise. So I'm into the idea of bringing little 10-pounders to work, even though those are not the weights I work with, because I work on 30s right now. But just little ones. So I'm, I'll be thinking and you just kind of go like this for a little bit. And it's not building muscle, but it's keeping you exercise.
It's endurance. Yeah.
I was also reading about how getting up and just walking around for 5 minutes every hour helps. So
set a timer for yourself for that one.
Yeah. Because I definitely forget and I get really into what I'm working on. Food. So we're going to do our recipe section and then call it a day. Unfortunately, Sky's not here this week because she's literally a zombie. She's been turned into a zombie. She's had a rough week. So she said that
Don't join the family. Don't go into a farmhouse.
She says she's not doing too hot this week, so she didn't send anything in. But
it's all good. We'll cover.
And so basically, we were just talking about vacation themed recipes and if you're going to be cooking on vacation. And really, for me, it just comes down to grilling. If you have a grill available to you and you're on vacation, I love making burgers. That's something we've never talked about. The show is burgers and hot dogs.
Oh my God, hot dogs. I loved those hot dogs.
I know you did.
So do you put ketchup on a hot dog? I know you're a vegetarian now, but do you put ketchup on a hot dog? This is a big controversy.
Yeah.
I do.
Why?
Well, because you're only supposed to put mustard on a hot dog. Because it's the classy way to eat a sausage.
Who
you just have sausage and mustard.
The classy way to eat a sausage. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, though? Like a
I
fancy
do.
German
I know, but
sausage.
that's
You're
like
supposed to dip
insane
little
sounding.
pieces of it in fancy mustard. And so
Yeah.
there are definitely hot dog purists out there who are like ketchup and mustard. Trust me, Ryan.
Well, okay,
It's like a whole thing.
I eat tofu dogs, which is essentially like just as much of a mystery as like the actual hot dogs. But like I do
Yeah,
ketchup.
but
I
it's
actually
still-
don't like mustard. I think mustard is fucking gross.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I like mustard. I eat ketchup and mustard on a hot dog.
I cannot eat mustard. I like sometimes I'll occasionally have it. I'm like, this is so gross. Why am I eating this? So
Oh,
I'm pretty
weird.
much a
I
ketchup
kinda
only
like it.
guy. So
That's fair. I think they're both good, and I think the combination of those three flavors, I don't get too complicated with a hot dog. But if somebody wants to give me like a really fancy hot dog with like diced veggies on top, like sauteed,
yeah, sure. Like I get
Sure,
into
I'll
that
eat
idea.
it.
Like you're putting like
I
other
will
stuff
eat
on
that.
there.
Yeah, or like pickles or whatever, like something
Relish,
really,
yeah.
really fancy schmancy. I will eat that hot dog. Don't get me wrong. I'll eat it if it just has mustard. That's fine. But in my ideal scenario, I just have the bun, the hot dog, ketchup and mustard. I'm kicking it old school with hot dogs.
I just like ketchup. But honestly, if I have to choose between two, I like am more of a burger guy. That was even the case when I was still eating meat. So now that I eat
That's
veggie
fair.
burgers, like still the same thing where you take a bun and like I really like putting tomato and lettuce and onion on there. Sometimes pickles, but not that often. Mostly the tomato is the most important part to me, and a ton of ketchup and mayo.
Tomatoes go on a burger. I like all that stuff, and I like cheeseburgers. I guess it's just like I have hot dogs so rarely that having one is like a special occasion to me. Whereas hamburger meat, that's something that I would put in an ordinary recipe.
Well, the thing that I do differently on vacation with my burgers is I do doubles, and I usually just eat like a single one. But like on vacation, I was like, "Fuck it, grill me two more because it's on the grill."
Of course, it's still a veggie burger, so
Yeah, it's still like 200 calories altogether.
Yeah,
So-
you're still like not actually eating that much.
I know, but
It's
it is
fine.
really good. And that was my go-to even when I was eating meat. Still, I'd be like, double cheeseburger. I'm on vacation.
Oh
Um,
man, that is a lot more food, though.
Yeah, it's
I
really
don't
fucking
think I
good
could
though.
actually eat a whole double cheeseburger because I don't know, man. That's a lot of food for me. Maybe if they were both really
when I was
small.
a teenager, I was all about that. Like, especially at like midnight, and I was like, "Oh, I'm really hungry," and it's like midnight, and like go to Wendy's or McDonald's or whatever, and I'd be like, "Triple cheeseburger."
Oh, are we talking about high school when I had the metabolism of a child? That
I know,
was a
right?
different story. That was a
Okay.
different situation.
Well, I know that
Anyway,
you have some teenagers that listen to the show, so but
yeah,
I still enjoy
those
the aesthetic
cheeseburgers
of
while you
it.
can, kids.
No,
Enjoy
but it's
them.
like the aesthetic of doing a double is like I don't know, like
Yeah, it's
there's
like a
nothing. It
light
doesn't
cake.
taste any
It's-
different, but it's like
just fun.
yeah, exactly. So that's
All
my
right.
vacation food: double cheeseburgers.
So this was our show.
I don't think anybody watched it today.
It's okay. We didn't
All right.
really do a good job promoting it.
I don't know if we're gonna actually turn this into a podcast because you had some insane audio difficulties. So this
I'll see what
might.
I can do. I'm gonna go in the other room and check on my computer and see if it works.
It's just gonna be on fire. It's great.
Oh my god. I'm really glad I'm starting out today on a positive note by destroying my computer.
All right. So
Ugh.
more positively, you guys should follow us here. You can subscribe to this channel and also find the podcast on iTunes and also at atomicblueproductions.com, and our main YouTube channel, which is Atomic Blue Productions, which is where Gino is going to be going up pretty soon. It's done.
Yeah,
It's
it
actually
is done.
officially done.
Ah!
We just need to give like a release date. So that's going to be going up there too, along with a bunch of throwback theater things that Maddy and I are going to be making, which is us sort of reacting to movies and other shit that we made when we were teenagers. And you guys seem to like that for some reason, so we'll keep doing that. And you can follow Atomic Blue Productions on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. And email us at insomniacsinthemorning@gmail.com, and we'll answer your questions on air. And you can follow Maddy and I at Dr. Yoshi2 and Minnie Myers.
Yay, we
I'm
did
probably-
it. You
I'm gonna-
remembered all the things. I don't
I
have
did.
to remind you about
I
it.
did. This is what happens now. Like, I'm just very relaxed and able to focus.
You're just on, man. You're just
This-
so
I-
on.
you- this-
Not
you-
me. I'm a fucking mess.
I stopped checking social media all the time, and now I can like focus. It's weird.
I hope it continues.
I hope so too. We got to go though. So thank you for watching, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.